right, welcome. It says love is everywhere.
Oh, I love it.
We're live though. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, hi.
We're good. All right, guys, welcome to DVC Facebook Live. We are so excited that you decided to join us because we have a birthday today. I'm super excited. I made all kinds of crazy mistakes today. Y'all know that I like to keep it real. And so while you're joining, I'll tell you a few funny things before we introduce these beautiful authors and their wonderful manifesto. But this morning, I'm so excited. I sent out the book birthday promo. You guys have seen those a bunch of times. And I tagged the wrong Becky. It's another Becky author. Her book hasn't come out yet. She's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till it's my turn.
Oh,
Like,
and then
oh
she unfollowed me. So now we're connected.
oh, good. You're about to be author sisters. So it'd be perfect. I love it. So here we are for another book birthday. We are super, super stoked to bring this book to you. Hi, Laura. Welcome. As you are joining in, please do comment, share your ideas. Remember, we have the authors right here on the show to answer questions for you. How lucky are you to get to talk to them on their book birthday, right? And so here we are. We will talk a little bit about the book. Then we'll have both Becky and Kathi share a little bit about why they wrote the book, why you really need to read it, and share a little bit about the book and its amazingness. But we also want to answer your questions because I know a lot of people out there probably have questions, how's this going to benefit me when it comes to remote learning or anything like that. Be sure and put those questions over in the comments. We have the authors right here at our fingertips to be able to answer all of our questions. So again, thank you for joining the book birthday today for Sell the 7 C's with Microsoft in Education. I think you guys are going to really love the show. So before I waste all of our time talking, I want to introduce to you the fantastic authors of this brand new book. Thanks for joining us, Dave. I got my birthday hat on today. We're so excited. I even have this, you missed it. But we are so excited to have Kathi and Becky on the show. I want you to just introduce yourself. We'll start with Kathi. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, where you're from, Kathi, and then we'll move on to Becky and do the same thing. And then as you're joining in, remember, be sure and tell us who you are, what you do, and ask any questions you might have about Sell the 7 C's with Microsoft in Education. So Kathi, please do tell us all about you.
Well, hello, my name is Kathi Kersznowski. I am, my primary job is that I'm a technology integration specialist or a tech coach here in Southern New Jersey. And I love my job. I love teaching teachers. I love teaching children too. And I love teaching teachers and I like working with other adults. So I'm really lucky to do the things that I do. I also, in a way, I work for, I always get it the wrong direction, Becky over there. Because I work for a Microsoft partner company, training partner company called I2E. And so in that role, Becky is kind of my boss. So that way, she's also my friend and my co-author. And I'm lucky to work with her on this book. It's been a fantastic voyage, a wonderful journey, a definite learning experience. And I think Becky and I have become closer. And that's probably one of the best parts of having done this book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so fun to find someone that you compliment and who really helps you refine your craft in a way that is really encouraging. It's been wonderful.
I love that. I think you guys are such a dynamic team too, even from our very first meeting. Just knowing I could see the chemistry, like you guys work really well together. And that's always fun on our end too, when the authors like love each other because their brain powers come together and people feel that when they're reading, right? You do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, this book, y'all, it's already a #1 new release. I had no doubt it would be there, but within a few hours it was there. And
it was crazy.
On Twitter and follow these ladies, you totally need to. I'll let them share their Twitter handles in a minute. But Kathi has the cutest gifts ever.
She does.
They're so cute. I just love them so much.
Kathy's gifted.
She is gifted. I love her.
At first I felt like I should be gifted, and then I was like, no, that's not my thing. I don't have to own everything. Kathi can be the gifted.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's your strength, Kathi. You can dance like no one's watching in those gifts. That's for sure.
Exactly.
The Bitmoji craze is alive and well in Southern New Jersey, so I'm just representing.
I love it. I love it so much. So we have this brand new book, and I would love for you guys just to give us, you ladies, sorry, to give us an overview of why did you decide to write Sail the Seven Seas with Microsoft in Education? Let's just start with that question.
Yeah. I could start like by way of intro too, because I started talking and then I never said hello. And anyway, so
you do. Yes, let's
totally,
do that.
we're just having a conversation and you already know who I am. But so Becky Keene, I live in the Seattle area of Washington in the United States. I've been in education for about 20 years, and I've taught ages 8 through 14 in public education, and then I've worked with adults doing professional development, pre-K, pre-kindergarten age, all the way through adult learners in higher ed for the last 10 or 15 years, really. And so this book comes out of the heart that I have for I'm going to be honest, for Microsoft Education. I have been a part of that community since 2005, and I've seen firsthand the impact that tools that are first class, business class tools can bring this transformation to students. I've done it and lived it, and I've been able to support it around the United States and around the world for the past several years in my current role, which is director at i2e, which is a Microsoft global training partner. And so it was just really interesting because someone approached Kathi and I and said, would you ever be interested in writing a book? And Kathi and I kind of went away and brainstormed. And when we came back together and met with Shelley Burgess, Tara, we had brainstormed the same framework. It was crazy. We didn't talk to each other. And we came back and we're like, we both really feel like it should be around the seas, and we also want to include community. And then Kathy's like, what about change makers? And it was amazing how well aligned we were from the beginning. So that was a year ago, and now here we are.
That is so cool. Super exciting. So Kathi, share a little bit about the book and what your take on why you guys decided to write it.
Well, I'll back up too and just say that I don't actually know when I started with Microsoft. I assume it's been about 5 or 6 years now that I've kind of been in that world. My school district went all in with Office 365. And when that happened, when my district went in, I was like, I'm going to go even more all in, right? So I started learning everything I could. I became an MIE, a Microsoft Innovative Educator, and then I had to go to the next level and be an MIE expert, and then I had to go to the next level and be an MIE trainer, just because learning is fun. And so I kind of went through all those levels, and as you're doing that, you're meeting other people who love and care about the same thing. So not only was I meeting them, I was learning from them. And it was just such an invigorating way to build community just out of a passion and something that I truly believed in. And it was really fun. And Becky, when you talked about, so it was at ISTE in Philadelphia last year when somebody first said, there really aren't any Microsoft books out there. And we were like, you are so right. People have written books about that other company a lot, and this needs to be in the market. There's got to be something out there to help educators and to be really inspirational. And we kind of said yes verbally right there at ISTE, together. And I was actually, Becky, I don't think I ever told you this, but the first meeting we ever had with Shelley Burgess was a virtual meeting, and I was sitting in a hotel room in Reno in July last year, and that was when we just all agreed. I'm like, yes, we will do this. Yes, we will sign this contract and we will make this happen. And we had a manuscript in. We said we'll do it fast, and we had our manuscript in by the first week in December. Like we did this together that fast, and we did that with interviewing probably 50 different educators from around the world. I think 40 of them are still in the book, just interviewing people from all over the world, from 6 different continents, because this book wasn't going to be about us, a little bit, but this book was really about people and the people who are using these products in really amazing ways. And we know these stories and we know these people, and they needed to be told. And what's better to inspire other people to try Microsoft products than to show them people who are using Microsoft products in really great ways. So it's been so fun to make that happen.
You guys are awesome.
I think what Kathy's talking about is such an important, shout out to the book, right? The second line is with Microsoft Education, but the reality is our focus is on the two things Kathy just mentioned, the people and the pedagogy. Because we know that great things happen in classrooms because of great educators. And we know that they have best practices and they want to see their kids, go forth and have limitless learning and achieve amazing things. They want that for their students. And so our goal is to inspire and encourage other educators around the world to use those same strategies in their own classrooms because they have access to the same tools. Because Microsoft is free for education. So, this is something that we hope will, again, it's not a how-to guide, it's an inspiration guide. People are talking about why they're excited that their students are able to do these amazing things, and all of it is replicable. So we're just very excited about that message.
And Tara, I know you have a question, but before you ask, based on what Becky just said, I just wanted to throw in because I had a question. Somebody asked me on Twitter today. They said, do we have to be Microsoft users? I've never used Microsoft. And I answered her, and I thought it would be a good time to answer that here. Absolutely not. We read this book. I mean, it says Microsoft Education with an emphasis on education, right? Anybody can use these tools or use these ideas to get started. And we say that in the beginning of our book, like if you're a longtime Microsoft user, you're still going to find inspiration. There are stories in here that are at that level, but if you're a newbie or you're just joining us in our community, we welcome you. And there are things here for you too. You're going to walk away with new ideas and inspiration.
Yeah. That was kind of my next question. So you already answered it, but that's cool because I do want to talk a little more about, I know it's not a how-to guide, and you guys have chosen some educators from around the world to share their experiences. Would you guys mind, or would either of you mind sharing maybe one of those stories or a story that has inspired you that maybe didn't make the book, but you could even just share one of the stories. There's so many in there that I don't think it'll be too much
40.
of a story if we learn one of them. But I think it would just be cool to be able to hear one of those stories if you wouldn't mind.
Do you have one ready, Kathy?
No, I know that you do because I know
do. Yes, I do. So I would never pick a favorite. Some of the stories are lengthy, some are short. I just want to give that caveat. Everything in here we selected because we think it's amazing. But there is one story that pulls on my heartstrings more than some of the others. And that is the story of Lee Whitmarsh. He was educating in England at the time, but has since moved to Australia. So he's in a different space of the world now. But Lee Whitmarsh did something with his students because their community had decided to be a dementia-friendly community. And they wanted to really support people who were struggling with dementia in their family units. And so his students, the story is outlined in the book, and I would encourage you all to connect with Lee and to watch his Flipgrid video that's linked inside our book to learn more about it from his voice. But basically, his students interviewed families with family members who were struggling with dementia, and they went through their family archives. They scanned photos, they found wedding music, they mapped locations and got street view of maybe where they went on a honeymoon or had their first school that their children went to, and they created these visual histories for these families. And they found not only was that impactful for the family members who wanted this information preserved from the family member who can no longer communicate some of those things, but they found that, and this is all tied to brain research too, that giving the family member who has lost access to those memories, ready access, giving them music and imagery from their past actually cued some of those memories back to life. And people were, I mean, it was like tearing up when Lee was telling me that people who hadn't been able to recognize family members in years during this process would look, a spouse would look at their partner and say, we've been married this whole time, like recognizing the history. And so just incredibly powerful. And that's done over sway.com, free, open for anyone to use. And these students are literally changing people's histories and lives because they used a free
Yes.
tool to impact other people with their communication skills. So incredibly impactful, right?
Love it. Such a good story.
Cool.
Yes, and I love those kinds of stories too. I feel like, I think back to influential beings in our world, when they want to push an agenda, when they really make a difference is when they influence us, usually through stories. It's not when they demand or they say you have to do it this one right way, but when they share these stories that it pulls at our heartstrings because we're all human and we all have stories. And yeah, I love that your book is based around that. And it's also based around stories around the world. It's not just educators right here, like in our state or in our community or dealing with the education
In
system.
fact, Kathi and I were so excited about Kathi and I have been lucky enough to do some travel and be a part of E2 and international conferences. And so we know a lot of educators around the world. And we're like immediately reaching out to people we knew around the world. And Kathi and I had to stop ourselves because at some point we had this monster brainstorm list and we had like only a couple from the United States. We're like, we totally underrepresented the United States here. We wanted to kind of balance our representation throughout the book on a variety of levels. But it was funny because we were just so excited to share what people are doing who we have had a chance to meet and interact with and hear their stories and be so humbled about the amazing work that's happening. So that's a little bit of where our heart came from.
And I would say, is it a diversity of countries, but it's a diversity of kinds of educators. And that I don't even know if we planned it, but it ended up happening where there are teachers of littles in this book and elementary educators and high school educators and people who specialize in sciences or math, people who are really good at coding. We've got somebody who teaches nurses in there. We have administrators in there. There's men, women, all nationalities. It's just such an eclectic, there's something for everybody in there. Everybody's represented.
Yeah.
Super excited. Inclusiveness is always fun and always welcome, right? That's what we want more of. And learning, like the beautiful thing about you being able to, both of you, being able to travel and meet these wonderful educators and see what they're doing. We can't maybe always be able to do that, but you've so graciously shared all those stories with us. So now you're bringing it to your PLN and the readers out there to be able to experience that as well. So my next question is, what are you really hoping that the readers will gain from reading Sail the Seven Seas?
Okay.
I can't tell where Kathi is.
I know, right? I always point the right direction. Absolutely. We say in the intro, and sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes when I pick up a book, I skip past the intro and I go to the beginning of chapter 1. If you get this book, please don't do that. We put so much heart and explanation and a lot of the why in the intro. It's actually, it is kind of our chapter 1. And we talk in there about, the educators and the stories that we're telling and what we hope you get out of the book. And one of the things that we say in the very beginning is every idea that's been shared has been shared by somebody who has learned it from somebody else and wants to pay it forward. They put their own innovative twists on it and made it their own, and they're okay with you taking their ideas and then making it your own too. And so we purposely, every single story, activity, whatever is replicable. It is doable. And we've captured not only we've captured their voices quite literally. I'll let Becky tell more about that if she wants to. We've captured their voices quite literally in this book in something that I don't think has ever been done before. And we let you hear from them. And they all want you to know that they're sharing their stories freely, and they hope that you take them and build on them and bring them to your classrooms and make them your own and innovate for your students with your students, and take it to the next level. It's really a book about sharing and caring and keep it going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really our biggest hope is, and this came from something that happened to me at my very first E2, um, which before it was called E2, but this Global Educator Exchange, Barcelona 2015, I think. No, 2014. Um, and and walking around and talking to other educators around the world, um, I was so humbled. I was so amazed by the work that other educators were doing, and this was before I think before so many educators were active on Twitter, and we didn't get an opportunity to see these lessons happening in other classrooms. And I went back to my school district and I was like, you all need to hear what's happening in El Salvador and in Argentina and in India and in New Zealand and in China because we're not doing that here, and we should be doing this for kids. And so I think that that's kind of, almost a call to action that I hope happens as people read this book is being able to choose one or two or three stories from within the book and say, we should be doing this here. We should be doing this in my area of the world because this is great work for kids that not only causes them to achieve their curriculum standards, but also causes them to be better humans. And
Yeah.
so that's really what I hope is that other people have that same empowerment that I felt of that was amazing. I need to be doing that in my home as well. So, oh, and Kathi like teased out the stories. So what we've done is we've selected. We wanted to include everyone. It's really hard to make these decisions and put certain things in the book. Kathi and I kept joking, if we get asked to do another one, we can do more. But what we've done is we've asked one person per chapter to share his or her story over Flipgrid video. And so those links are included in the book as Flipgrid AR. So as you're reading along, you can take your mobile device and quite literally hear one of our crew members, we call them, spotlighted and tell you about how they see the importance of that theme of the chapter. And then we've also included Wakelet collections. We love Wakelet. Kathi and I are huge fans. And so throughout the book, in the margins, you'll see noted little Wakelet actually designed us our own little logo that we could place in the book. And so you'll see that we give little references where we've curated a resource in the Wakelet collection to match that chapter. So people can jump in immediately. They don't have to go find a resource or find a tool. They can, read it, listen to it, and then go try it out right away.
Very cool. That's cool.
I hope so.
Super cool. Yeah. I'm just absorbing. I'm like everybody else. I've been watching the show as well. I'm supposed to be hosting the show. All right. So we are so proud and so honored to publish this book. I really am hoping that the listeners of this video realize that this isn't a how-to, although how-to tech books are wonderful. I love them. But this isn't that kind of. And I think the girls, the ladies, sorry, I should have called. I go call you guys, I call you ladies. My friends here definitely explain this very beautifully of how this is an inspirational. This is a book that's going to inspire you to be a better educator, a better human, and be able to work with these tools more proficiently as well, and see how they can really enhance what we do in education, but not just in education, changing the world. I mean, that's what it's really more about. And I think that's the key to, that's what really kind of sets this tech book apart from other books that are along the same lines or with a similar type of theme. And so I think it's really important that as you're listening, I think you're going to find this book to be very exciting and to prompt you to want to learn more about how to use Microsoft Education to better your learning setting.
And I will say that we do have screenshots. We do have some, little steps, click here, click here, click here. And we also have little sections throughout each chapter that are called Get Ready to Set Sail. And that's where we give the reader a challenge, where we give some step-by-step directions, pretty straightforward, log in here, do this, click here, click next, insert. But we give the readers a challenge and ask them to try out something with some limited help and directions that they've just read about. in their own classroom or as a professional. So we have built that in as well, little challenges that guide people into trying it out. And then in the Wakelet, we've provided resources on where to learn more.
Sweet.
And I feel remiss that we didn't start at the beginning of this and talk about what the 7 C's are. We kind of referenced
it's a big secret.
Because something you said, Tara, made me think of this. So when we first started conceptualizing this, most people are familiar with the 4 C's, framework that's been out for a long time now. And so we wanted to start with, creators and collaborators and communicators. Becky, I'm going to forget one, definitely.
Critical thinkers. Yeah.
Critical thinkers. Thank you. And so we kind of started with those, but then we said, so often there's computational thinkers is another regarded C, so we thought we want to represent that because so much of what we know has to do with math thinking and coding and patterns and things like that. But we wanted to start with community. So we put that C at the very beginning because that's where it all started for us. So the C at the beginning is community. And you know what? Through the use of all these products, the very last thing is definitely change makers, because we've seen these teachers, and change makers almost happen in every single chapter. It was hard not to put them all at the last chapter, but you'll see this progression of, yes, people are using Skype, but their kids have Skyped with places. So now the kids want to change the world because of that. And they are. And there's so much of that happens. So it's this journey from starting with a community, going through these C's that we know about how to communicate and collaborate and things like that, and ending up having a class and having adults and children who are ready to change the world and make the world a better place. And there really is that journey in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you for sharing the 7 C's. That's a very important piece. Somebody said, I was wondering, what are the other 3 C's? It's fantastic. Community is so vital to, I think, and I love that the last one is change makers. I think that's what we all want to be. That's what we want to empower all of those within our realm of influence to be change makers. That's what we're seeing in our world right now too. So I think it's just very fitting. So thank you so much, y'all. If y'all have anything else you would like to add, I would open that up. If you do have any questions, please do put them in the comments. You have the authors right here that can answer them for you. And before we sign off of here, and as we're waiting to see if there's any other questions, why don't you, Becky and Kathi, share how they can connect with you on social media, on your website, with the email list, or anything like that?
Sure. Kathi, you had something to add.
Well, I'll just add that in with this. Yeah. So my Twitter handle is @Kerszi. It's KERSZI. Now that's also going to be my website in a few days. It's about to launch. So it'll be Kerszi, KERSZI.com. And then you can find a bunch of other things about me there. But I also wanted to say, and Becky's going to be happy that I'm saying this too, and I think Tara will as well, and Dave, if you're still on there, that we've curated some book club questions around this book. So that if you want to get this in your school and you want other teachers to join you and be a group and kind of work on some of these things together, we've already curated those, and they're going to be available at
I put it on the web. I'm putting it on the comments right now. DaveBurgessConsulting.com. You'll go to books, and then you'll go to book activity page. And I'm putting that over in the comments. But you'll find their book there. It should be up today if it's not up already. Their book study there. And if you click on that, the coolest thing about that page is at the top of that page, there are these cute little videos that kind of help you to get the educators engaged with the questions. But the beautiful thing is that Kathi and Becky have already created the questions. So if you're hosting a book study, you can literally give an assignment. Okay, read the first 3 chapters. We're going to join back together. And they already have the questions made for you. We have game cards. We have those questions in game card format. We also have them in slides format that you can promote up on the board. So it's a really great way to engage your group in the book study, learning more about the book. And if you're doing this on your own and you just want to reflect on some questions, that's a great place to go to get those questions as well. So I put that over in the comments page, the comments, and it should be up on the page today. It usually uploads on the same day as the book birthday.
Perfect. Yeah. Yes, love the discussion guide. And I am available at Becky Keene on Twitter and BeckyKeene.com. You can Google me, I think, and that it all comes up. So yeah, mine's just my name, which is super simple. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. I know I'm connected to several of you who are on here already. And part of the exciting thing for me with launching this book is that I've already today been, connected to new people, and I'm looking at their Twitter profiles, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we have so many things in common. How did I not know you before this? And then people who I'm reading their profiles thinking, I want to learn from you. So I'm excited about that opportunity for me to grow my professional network through this process.
And she got to grow one extra Becky today because Dave, you'll love this. I tagged our other Becky author when I put out their book.
What are you doing tagging another Becky?
Yep. Becky in the house.
I made it all the way to university before I shared a class with another Becky in life. So I'm just not even used to it. Just kidding. I'm thrilled to meet another Becky. It's a good name.
We work with all Becky's here at DBC. No, we are so excited about this book. We're excited about to hear how you guys are receiving it, how you're going to take this information and change your practice.
Yeah, that would be the biggest gift for me, would be to hear that someone took it and did something with it that positively impacted students. That's number one. I would melt in a puddle on the floor if I get to hear that. So
please don't melt in a puddle, because that's gonna happen. We need you here. We need all our Beckys. It's important. So thank you so much for writing this beautiful gem. I can't wait for the world to see it. I can't wait to start seeing your selfies out there with the book, and you telling me a little bit about what you're loving about these girls. And be sure and use their hashtag sell. There you go. That's a reminder right there. Sell the 7 number and CS. So sell the number, sell this number 7 C's. And be sure and tag us on DBC Inc. too. We're always excited to hear what our readers are thinking about the books that we're putting out there. So we appreciate all of you. We love you all. We are so grateful. And we're grateful for Kathi and Becky for sharing all their wisdom with us and reaching out and introducing us to people all around the world who not only do you get to read their stories, but you get to scan those QR codes and get to hear from them too. That is so cool. Maybe not all of them, but most of them, some of them. That's exciting. So thank you again. Happy book birthday, lady.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting.
So excited. Dave said his book selfie is coming soon, so we're really excited about that too. I think when I get mine, I'll just wear my birthday hat.
Yeah, definitely. And Kathi just threw confetti. It's a party.
It's a party. It's a party that you want us out on. And that's fantastic. I love it. Thank y'all so much. We hope that everyone has a wonderful afternoon. And if you haven't checked out the book already, head over to Amazon. We put it a couple of times in the links in the comments. Check it out, read it a little bit, read the Kindle version so you can see the pages. Also on our DaveBurgessConsulting.com page, there's a books page. You will find Sell the 7 C's there, and also have a free preview. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you can click that free preview, and you can check it out a little bit for yourself and learn a little more about it. But yeah, we're so grateful you guys all came, and happy book birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.